Die Sonic Bible, war Luigi Unraveled, Mario's Retirement Plan, Maximizing Stamina und oder was ist Kirby? Das sind deine Auswahlmöglichkeiten. Ich habe nur Bibel gehört, let's go. Sonic Bible. Nein, Kirby. Was denn jetzt? Kirby? What is Kirby? 18 Minuten? Willst du mir das antun, ja? Ich hätte das sowas von zusammenschneiden. Elfy reagiert auf Unraveled. Okay, what is Kirby? 2. August 2019. Ihre.
Kirby. This pink puffball has been sucking his way through the denizens of Dreamland since 1992. He has his own games, manga, TV series, and toys. It's safe to say he's one of Nintendo's most trusted mascots. But he should not be trusted. The problem with Kirby is that he is simultaneously Nintendo's simplest and most powerful creature. Those two realities cannot coexist. He is a life form with neither the ambition nor the intelligence to make decisions, and yet the world bends to his will. Although it appears that Kirby is just a vacuous pastel marshmallow, there must be some hidden wisdom that grants him the power he wields. There has to be. Kirby's incongruity is terrifying, but that's only because we are terrified of things we do not yet understand. And today, we are going to understand.
Ja, kann man so sehen. Ich weiß nicht, ich hatte gerade noch einen Gedanken im Kopf, aber der ist gerade weg. Weil er sagte, Kirby hat zu hohe Kräfte für das, was er ist, so, ne? Ja. Ja, sehe ich. Ja. Okay, wir unraveln, okay.
Knowledge is power. Humankind's attempts to harness the powers of the natural world come from intense research and understanding of those powers. And yet Kirby is granted powers well beyond his station. What powers, you ask? Allow me to show you. I have created 2 columns here, simplicity and power. What Kirby is versus what Kirby can do. By mapping the dichotomy of these 2 columns, we can peel back the facade of Kirby's simplicity, and of these 2 columns, we can peel back.
Hat er da lackierte Fingernägel? Du weißt, was ich dazu meine? Du kennst meine Meinung dazu ganz genau. Die sehen fucking gut aus.
Back the facade of Kirby's simplicity and figure out what's really going on. Because again, this is not normal. Let's begin with simplicity. Most people know Kirby as that cute little round guy, but is there more to him? According to official, canonical information, no. Like his simplistic appearance, he is an easily understood character. True to his instincts, Kirby eats when he gets hungry and sleeps as soon as he grows.
Ich mache sowas nicht, aber why not? Ja, genau. Ich finde, also bei ihm zumindest, sehen die voll gut aus. Also, klar. Finde ich cool. Freue mich immer, sowas zu sehen. Ich mach's halt selber nicht. Aber ich kann das schön finden, ja.
Tired. Does this sound like an apex predator? Even a bear enjoys a satisfying back scratch. This sounds like the lowest form of life. Someone who is stuck on the base of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. He wakes up, eats his caloric intake for the day, and falls asleep watching the Great British Bake Off. And yet over here on the power column, the things Kirby eats are completely obliterated. Not just converted into something else, completely gone. Kirby only cares about eating and sleeping, and yet he gains no energy nor pleasure from consuming these things. Instead, he just lets them disappear, gone from this plane of existence.
True.
So, what the fuck? Kirby doesn't speak a language.
Ja, wenn du es so sagst, ja, doch. Ja, doch, sehe ich. Sehe ich, ja.
Beyond saying the words Pollo and Hi, Kirby mostly
Hi! Ich kann's nicht.
communicates via body language and grunts. Even toddlers are more communicative. By all accounts, he is either incapable of or uninterested in speaking language. And yet, Kirby is an incredible...
Even though he's only about 8 inches tall, Kirby is an extremely skilled technician. Okay.
Incredibly skilled technician. We see Kirby piloting mechs, and if anime is to be believed, and I believe anime, this can only be accomplished by gifted teens grappling with psychosexual ennui. He can effortlessly turn himself into a fighter jet.
Wer Ghost in the Shell Staffel 1 gesehen hat, weißt du, wovon ich rede? Von er redet?
Something
Also,
that
das bin
only
ich, aber...
the most skilled Air Force engineers have mastered. How can he understand these complex mechanical processes without having the language skill to read a textbook or the I fucking love science Facebook page? Kirby's origins are vague.
Dieser Dummkopfhumor, der dabei kommt. Ich liebe es viel zu sehr. So like, wie kann er das machen, ohne ein Buch zu lesen? Oder die I fucking love science Facebook-Seite. Das macht doch gar keinen Sinn. So, ich liebe es. Das ist viel zu gut.
Let me take a moment to move over to a different board so I can show you Kirby's origin story. There's nothing here! Very little is known about Kirby's origin. He has no canonical species. He has no canonical age. Masahiro Sakurai, Kirby's alleged creator, has stated that he does not remember how Kirby got his name. Kirby was originally a placeholder sprite, set to be replaced by something more. But no, Kirby survived. Kirby came from nothing, and Kirby is nothing. Or is he everything? Because Kirby can be anything. His copy ability gives him the powers and appearance of any creature he consumes, but copy is a misnomer. He does not duplicate his enemies. He assimilates and replaces them. In Smash, he takes the power of his foes and then the foe is released as a sign of respect. But in every other iteration of Kirby, the thing he consumes...
Ich habe auch noch nie ein Kirby-Spiel gespielt. Ich kenne Kirby nur von Smash. Yikes.
is destroyed in the process. Does he absorb their DNA? Does he absorb their memories? Is he the keeper?
Kirby is God. Change my mind. I'm not here to change your mind. Kirby is God. Was? Yep. Hey, I'm a gamer. Okay, das ändert nicht viel. Ja, also Kirby ist cool. Ich mag Kirby. Ich spiele ihn sehr gerne in Smash. Ich habe noch nie ein Kirby-Spiel gespielt, Mann. Ich weiß aber, dass das neue Switch-Game sehr cool sein soll. Und ich habe die Memes gesehen. Ich würde gerne von einem Kirby gegessen werden. Ich glaube, das würde mir gefallen, ja.
Of their souls? All of these abilities point to Kirby being intelligently designed, which we know is not the case.
Und übrigens, was wie mit den Fingernägeln, das sind schwer so Details, Junge. Wer denkt daran, zu sagen, yo, Brian, bevor wir jetzt das Video loslegen und so, lass uns mal die Fingernägel lackieren. Und er dann so, okay, können wir machen. Damit was? Jemand wie ich darauf achte? Oder Stress? Hm? Das sind schon wieder so Sachen so, Ich finde es schön, dass sie das überhaupt machen. Auch wenn ich glaube, dass das nicht vielen auffällt. Ja. Aber spielt Triple Deluxe, Robobot und Forgotten Land und alles ist gut. Okay, ich habe Forgotten Land nicht gespielt, sondern nur die anderen zwei, aber egal. Yikes. Yikes. Aber ich habe noch nie ein Kirby-Spiel gespielt. Mal gucken, was wir noch so alles für Spiele reinfinden, von denen ich noch nie ein Spiel gespielt habe.
Sakurai
Plot Twist, ich habe noch nie ein Pokémon gespielt, nein, Spaß.
fucking woke up in a crop circle with the name Kirby carved into his arm. Kirby has no emotional intelligence. In the anime, Kirby seems to harbor no ill will toward King Dedede and Escargoon, his main two antagonists. He faces baby birds and full battalions of soldiers with the same vacant grin. He eats and destroys indiscriminately, but counts no one among his enemies. But those that count him among theirs are cosmic horrors. Look at this thing. Look at this thing.
Whoa, warte.
Are cosmic horrors. Look at this
Necrodeus, artwork from Kirby Mass Attack.
Look at this.
Screen from Kirby Star Allies, Void Terminar. Genau, und ich habe ein Video von Johnny über Schmetterlinge gesehen, das ist großartig. Das müssen wir uns auch mal angucken. Generell, wir müssten mal Johnny reagiert Stream machen.
These
Viel zu gut.
celestial powers probably have wants and needs far beyond our human comprehension, and yet they trouble themselves with the destruction of Kirby, a barely living kickball. What do they see in Kirby that scares them? What could scare this? And the final simple evidence, Kirby is shaped like a friend. First draw a circle, then you dot the eyes. Add a great big smile, and presto, it's Kirby. This was the opening of Kirby's adventure. Let me show you something.
Oh, Johnny.
What did you notice? That's right. For the entire time I was drawing this, I wasn't interrogating the true nature of Kirby. This quote is cute and simple and a blatant misdirection. It is a patronizing errand meant to keep people like me from uncovering the truth. The truth that Kirby possesses infinite power. And that is a quote. Planet Robobot explicitly states that Kirby possesses infinite power. Kirby can ride a star. Kirby can punch through a planet. Kirby is the only being in the entirety of the universe that survived the Galeem cataclysm. A circle survived.
Alles gut, Bruder.
This survived.
Ja, true. Da hat er recht.
Now that we have addressed these two columns, it is time to bridge the gap. How can we reconcile the two canonical truths of Kirby, that he is both nothing and everything? How can this sentient garbage bag accomplish so much? Let me tell you.
Ja, hau raus.
I don't know. I literally have no clue how this dumb fucking orb can have so much power. I have worked my whole life researching and gaining knowledge, and this dipshit sphere sleeps all day and has powers that gods fear. And that's impossible. It should be impossible. There has to be an answer here, and I don't see it, and that's not fair! If knowledge is power, then power should be knowledge, and Kirby is everything, and he should know everything, and yet we know nothing! I can't think in here. I'm going outside. How do I get outside?
Based, ja. Sehr based bis jetzt. Hast du Final Space gesehen? Natürlich nicht. Natürlich nicht. Bis jetzt schon mal sehr base. Wir sind durch die Hälfte ungefähr durch. Passt. 15. Januar, vorher war August irgendwann, ne? Ah, Gottverdammt, man kann das hier. Fuck. Was ist Final Space? What the fuck ist das? Film oder
Kirby.
was? Serie?
The mystery of this florid Dreamlandian has baffled me. But I've taken a few months and I've collected my...
Auf Netflix oder was? Weil Prime und so ein Bums habe ich nicht, ich habe nur Netflix genannt. Dann gibt es auch einen sehr starken Ball. Heißt, ich gucke gerne Serien mit starken Bällen. Das erinnert mich an irgendwas. Das fand ich super witzig. War das irgendwie Ghost in the Shell oder so? Warte mal. Das muss ich mal eben gucken hier. Ich tippe mal eben hier rein. Wo ist denn das? Oh, das war irgendwas. Irgendwo stand bei Netflix, glaube ich, irgendwie, diese Serie ist aalglatt und ich dachte so, was? So heißt es so Tags oder so. So aalglatt. Ich dachte so, aalglatt, ich schaue nur aalglatte Serien.
And I'm back in the studio to deliver my findings. Kirby's incongruity is terrifying, but that's only because we are terrified of things we do not yet understand. And today, for real, we are going to understand. If you'll recall from our first exploration of
Schick mir das nochmal über Discord irgendwie auf den Server oder so, damit ich das nicht vergesse, weil den Streamchat sehe ich danach nie wieder. Da gucke ich was an, ja.
the Rosy Nightmare, the problem with Kirby is that he is both incredibly simple and incredibly powerful. In the intervening 5 months, I've learned a few pieces of information that contradict a few of my points. First, Kirby can speak a language.
Ich liebe auch aalglatte Serien.
There was a drama CD released in Japan in 1994 where Kirby speaks full sentences. But in this, he says that a phone is mysterious and he doesn't know how it works. And yet he can pilot a mech. 2, Kirby's name does in fact have a backstory, even if Sakurai was too fucking zooted to remember it. Kirby was named after John Kirby, a lawyer who passed away last year who defended Nintendo's right to copyright Donkey Kong back in the 80s. But this doesn't make the rest of Kirby's origin any less vague, and it doesn't change the fact that a creature cannot possibly embody both of these truths. But that's the problem. I've been thinking of Kirby as a creature. Consider for a moment Moby Dick. You might receive this book in your English class and say, hell yeah, a big ol' whale? I can't wait to see Ahab level up and hit that big boy right in his weak points. And sure, he puts his harpoon up in Moby D's flanks, but spoiler alert, Ahab gets got, even though he's been grinding for like years, and Pale Whale's just a dipshit fish with a thing for sailor feet. And so you say this to Miss Mahoney, and she's like, Brian, don't you get it? The whale is a metaphor for something, and then you write that on your final exam and you pass the class. This is what I like to call the bookman's bluff. It's when an author creates something and people are like, hey, that doesn't make sense. But then the author says, well, it does make sense if you consider it's actually a metaphor. Here, I believe that Sakurai is pulling a bookman's bluff. Kirby, like Moby Dick, doesn't make sense as a creature, but he will make sense as a metaphor. So what does Kirby symbolize? Let's take a look at some common metaphors. Let's start with the 7 deadly sins, since everyone and their mother is basing characters on them. Unfortunately, none of them really make sense for everyone. Take a look
einfach.
As a metaphor.
Sitzt so da und hat so 3 Sachen hinter sich.
So what does Kirby symbolize? Let's take a look at some common metaphors. Let's start with the 7 deadly sins, since everyone and their mother is basing characters on them. Unfortunately, none of them really make sense for Kirby. Wrath, no way. Greed, he's not in it for the money. I'm gonna skip over lust. You could make an argument for gluttony because he eats a lot. Sloth, he sleeps a lot. And envy, he's constantly copying other people. But he never does it with any malice. Kirby does these things haphazardly, without any sense of what he's doing. And then there's pride. Now, pride is the sin from which all other sins arise, and its punishment in hell
in Pride Month, lil.
Is being broken upon the wheel. But Kirby is a wheel, so that ain't gonna work. But Kirby might symbolize someone else's pride. The hubris of humanity. Think about it. Has humanity ever paused?
Wow, warte, da ist mein Englisch auch gerade am Ende. Was ist Hubris? Andersherum. Nee, Englisch auf Deutsch wahrscheinlich nicht. Hubris. Überheblichkeit. Die Überheblichkeit der Menschheit. Okay. Irre.
to
Du hast
consider
gelernt
that
hier.
perhaps our endless consumption may not be a good move for the world as a whole. Have we altered our course, or simply continued to eat and sleep and copy others without any thought of the repercussions? In fact, perhaps we can go one step further. Kirby is a metaphor for capitalism. Does our capitalist society assimilate and destroy? Absolutely. Technical and cultural approach.
Ich weiß das als Competitive Pokémon-Spieler. Hä? Du weißt, weil du Competitive Pokémon spielst, was Hubris ist? Ist das ein Move oder was? Die Mango ist ganz schnell. Aber warte. Wie sind wir jetzt zum Kapitalismus gekommen? Ah, eine Fähigkeit. Oh, yo! Hier. Ich weiß. Ja. Ja, ich weiß. Heißt die im Deutschen auch so? Oder heißt die Hochmut oder sowas? Oder ist das auch Überheblichkeit? Ich weiß, was du meinst. Ja, genau. Was? Capitalism ist sehr bad. Ist wirklich sehr bad. Also ich meine, wir leben im Kapitalismus, aber it's sehr bad, ja.
Appropriation are two of capitalism's most trusted tools. When it comes to a lack of emotional intelligence, capitalism makes people willing to suck in and obliterate anything, friend or foe, nation or natural wonder, so long as it makes money. Is capitalism's enemy a cosmic horror? What could be more cosmically horrifying to a capitalist society than a guy called Marx? Kirby is a metaphor for capitalism. Sure, capitalism can sometimes be more cruel in its intentions than Kirby can manage. That is, I'll take that. Also, it.
So, hold on, ich war kurz abgelenkt. Nevermind, das ist eine Attacke. Echt? Aber es gibt auch die Fähigkeit, ich weiß, du hattest genau die Fähigkeit im Kopf, die ich auch im Kopf hatte. Und die von wegen, du killst ein Pokémon und dann geht dein Attack, glaube ich, mal 2 hoch oder so, oder mal 1. Du hast wahrscheinlich genau das gleiche im Kopf gehabt, ja.
Capitalist society, then a guy called friend or foe. Are two of capitalism's most trusted tools. When it comes to a lack of emotional intelligence, capitalism makes people willing to suck in and obliterate anything, friend or foe, nation or natural wonder, so long as it makes money. Is capitalism's enemy a cosmic horror? What could be more cosmically horrifying to a capitalist society than a guy called Marx?
Ja, Hochmut, genau, ja. Aber ja, wir dachten beide an das Gleiche. Ja.
Kirby is a metaphor for capitalism. Sure, capitalism could sometimes be more cruel in its intentions than Kirby can manage. That is.
So, hier Live-Discord hier. Nice, Yuki, du Wichser. Kakigoro ist so ein guter Anime. Guck den. Super. Yeah. Discord. Kommt auf meinen Discord-Server. Yeah.
I'll take that. Also, it sure as hell feels like it could burn out at any second, so the infinite power thing, not 100% true. And it's hard to describe capitalism as being shaped like a friend. And the whole eating and sleeping only it doesn't really make sense because we have a hyperfixation on productivity and that being tied to our worth. So that doesn't. This is not a very good metaphor, is it? In fact, most of these metaphors are bullshit, especially this one. I thought I could take 5 months and pause and contemplate, and then I'd come back and I'd have the perfect explanation for the dichotomy of Kirby. But nothing has changed. This horrifying bolus slips through my fingers again. Maybe I'm just not good at this. Jenna, I need you to keep my papers and push pins safe. I'm gonna go away for a while. I'm gonna find Kirby.
Okay.
Er macht es auf den Weg, um Kirby zu suchen. Und dann auf jetzt die ganze Zeit im Discord zu schreiben. Mann. Die Leute in der VOD können das doch nicht sehen. Mann. Also ich meine, ihr auch nicht, aber... So.
I went to the woods because I wished to front only the essential facts of Kirby. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, just as Kirby might suck a Waddle Dee into his gullet. I've been at it for a while now. Judging by the length of my beard, I've been living out here for 2, maybe 3 years. There are no pinboards in the forest. I don't have 3 cameras to catch my every side glance. They don't teach you It's just me and nature, which has reduced me to my base instincts. I only care about finding food and shelter, eating and sleeping. I am become Kirby. I wish I could say this has given me a clear mind, but no. Nature has broken me. I am confounded by it, and we are terrified of things we do not yet understand. Kirby is nature, I thought, after spending my first day out in the woods. Sure, nature.
It's just me and nature.
Nature's origins are still murky, and spending my first day out in the woods.
While in the woods.
Sure, nature's origins are still murky, and what is evolution if not a really, really slow form of Kirby's copy ability? And much like Kirby, nature is neither cruel nor kind. It doles out boons and...
Ich hätte es sehr, sehr gut gefunden, wenn er sich so pinke Farbe ins Gesicht geklatscht hätte. Das wäre sehr witzig geworden, aber er wäre auch ein bisschen overdesigned, glaube ich. Ich meine, er hat es, glaube ich, nicht... Ja, doch, er hat die Fingernagellackfarbe abgemacht.
Punishments indiscriminately for every delicious handful of berries. It also gives a completely unrelated bout of diarrhea. But it took me only a few days to realize that this was another dead end. Nature doesn't destroy matter or possess infinite power, and its enemy is not a cosmic horror, it's us. I'm sorry for using so much paper. So I went back to the proverbial drawing board and have been stuck there ever since. Nature is still terrifying to me, and it is certainly not shaped like a friend. How can Kirby live like this?
Fucking Enten sind fucking gefährlich, Mann.
This and stay so joyful.
Genauso die Pferde.
How can he only care about his base needs and conquer any enemies that come before him?
Wo Emote, wo den Baum küsst. Na gut. Ich fühl's ja auch.
Drawing board and have been stuck there ever since. Nature is still terrifying to me, and it is certainly not.
Kann das davor?
I went. It's us. I'm sorry for using so much paper.
Das bin halt ich. Was willst du machen, Bruder? Das bin ich. Dann machen wir da die Mod raus, wenn der Mama das möchte. Mein Desktop wird immer voller mit Emotes, Bruder.
So I went back to the proverbial drawing board and have been stuck there ever since. Nature is still terrifying to me, and it is certainly not shaped like a friend. How can Kirby live like this and stay so joyful? How can he only care about his base needs and conquer any enemies that come before him?
Community Power, Bruder.
I can't conquer anything, not even the mystery of a character from a children's game. All I can do is tumble listlessly through the wood, like a star spat from Kirby's maw. I awake one morning upon the shore of a strange sea. I do not know where I am, nor how I came to be here. The sea stretches endlessly in front of me, revealing the gentle, Kirby-like curve of the planet, and I finally understand. I was so focused on investigating the inner machinations of this bulbous boy that I never asked why I was investigating. I am tormented with an everlasting itch for things to mean something, but Kirby didn't need an explanation. I did. There is no bullet point or fan wiki entry. Kirby is not nature or a metaphor. Kirby doesn't need a dark backstory or logical rationale. Kirby is just Kirby. As I stand here watching the waves lap against the sand, miles away from civilization, I realize I'm not simply standing.
Miles away from civilization. Im Hintergrund siehst du halt das. Das ist schon sehr witzig.
On the edge of the ocean, at the edge of the world, a world I've accepted without knowing its hidden meaning. Perhaps there is no hidden meaning. Perhaps it's better that way. Perhaps it's time for me to go home.
Das ist halt echt gute Comedy.
First, you draw a circle. Then, you dot the I's. At a great...
Er fängt den Kreis so rum an? Ich mache immer so. Also ich meine, ich kann das ja auch wack, aber wenn, dann würde ich... Ja, klang, war jetzt für mich, sah für mich ein bisschen komisch aus. Ja gut, so machen.
Big smile. And presto, it's Kirby. Kirby is an extremely strong circle. And that's all the explanation I need. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for Diddy Kong. Who gave him a gun? Did he build the jetpack? That doesn't make any sense. He's a monkey. What is he? Why does he have such... Oh, yeah. Satisfying.